Of all the mediums to write a story and create a world for, video games are usually the most straightforward. Ever since the days of Mario, we've had, you're the hero, go rescue X person/object. Yet over time, especially with the medium-stretching ambitions of something like Metal Gear Solid, a more Hollywood-esque sense of scope has come into play. Naturally, that's led to some of the best and most resonant stories in entertainment history. Your aforementioned Metal Gear Solids, your Last of Us's, your Final Fantasy VII's, your Ocarina of Times, all taking place across hours and hours of game time. The average length of any game stretches well past 10 hours, and those lengths of play require sizable scripts, ones including all manner of overlapping plot strands, reveals, character arcs, and more. Seriously, it's no small feat to write a video game script, especially if you're trying to contend with the world of film. As the following examples prove though, sometimes you can even overlook the most important character of all, the player. I'm Scott from ourculture.com, and these are 8 heroic video game characters who didn't actually affect the plot. Number 8, Master Chief, Halo 5. Divorce Halo 5 from its Chief versus Lock advertising and you get a tale of Cortana dealing with her growing rampancy, manifested as getting increasingly antagonistic towards the world around her, whilst prioritizing an agenda that put machines above humans. So how does the Chief fit into all this? Well, the story still focused somewhat on Locke chasing him down, but the big reason that was so integral to their fractured relationship? It comes from the Chief wanting to talk to Cortana instead of following his orders. Because, you know, she's his friend, and for a while he thought she was dead, so he kinda cares? Yeah, it's disgusting. Locke is therefore assigned to track Master Chief down, but after one quick tussle that lasts around 2 minutes, they're pretty much on the same page, as Cortana is then found on the planet Genesis. The game's final scene is you, playing as Chief, trying to shut down her activation of the Genesis caretaker AI that will spread her message to the galaxy. Only, you fail. Cortana accomplishes everything she set out to do from moment one, leaving the planet and closing out the game on a demonstrably naff cliffhanger. Master Chief literally accomplished nothing. Number 7, Jacket, Hotline Miami. Having one of the most mind-bending twists in gaming history comes with endless levels of retrospection. Mainly realizing that because a good 3/4 of the game takes place inside Jacket's mind, the larger ramifications of why you're massacring so many gang members tends to get cast to the wayside. Jacket's story literally ends with him taking out a mob boss and having a cigarette whilst gazing out to the midnight Miami sky, forever wondering just what the hell the preceding few days worth of cryptic phone calls and viscera were all for. The real ending comes not only from secondary character Ryder interacting with the aforementioned phone callers, but even then you need to have collected a number of puzzle pieces to trigger the final expository conversation. Without this wider context, only obtainable from Ryder as Jacket lives on in infamy, referenced heavily in the sequel, Hotline Miami is a bunch of supremely satisfying thrill kills, yet they can be ultimately pointless. Number 6, KAITLIN Greenbriar, Gone Home. As an exercise in storytelling through environmental design, Gone Home is set up like a horror. You return to your family abode after being away as a student, only to find a note on the door from your sister, apologizing for something she did and stating that she'll quote-unquote see you again soon. You then spend the following hours of game time trying to piece together just what the hell happened while you were away, enduring jump scares and moving shadows on the walls, with the whole experience playing on the shared genre assumptions that come with first-person corridor crawling horror. However, across the game you'll discover that actually nothing was wrong at all. A troubled message left on the answering machine pertained to a past event involving your sister's new girlfriend, and the pair running off together is what the door note referred to. All ancillary items that you could pick up, inferring that your mother was cheating on your father, also turn out to be the two of them spending some quality time together. Gone Home actually ends with you having done nothing but pick up the pieces of an already concluded narrative. Remember what your parents said about assuming anything? Number 5, Frank West, Dead Rising. At the beginning of the game, a zombie apocalypse. At the end of the game, a zombie apocalypse. Though thousands of them have been destroyed, so good job? Frank West can certainly talk a big game, but the vast majority of Dead Rising's story happens without his input. You've got him arriving at the Willamette Mall and culling the zombie populace, sure, but the larger plot involves Dr. Barnaby and his experiments to mass-produce livestock. The good doctor messed up, of course, resulting in the town of Santa Cabeza being zombified by way of carrier wasps, forcing Agent Carlito Keys to take revenge by unleashing the same swarm on the patrons of the mall. Absolutely none of this has anything to do with the actions of Frank, who ends the game by fighting a special forces officer called Brock Mason before a cut to black fills us in as to what happened afterwards. It turns out that the US government had to admit partial culpability due to the information Frank revealed, though the size of the incident would have tipped their hand anyway, not to mention Carlito's sister Isabella also escaped with the exact same info and all the life experience about killing millions of zombies. These final text prompts literally spell out that nothing was achieved other than a lot of dead bodies and a shrug of governmental shoulders, which is perhaps the point, but leaves Frank West as someone who just barely lived up to his own job title. Number 4, IDEN VERSIO, Star Wars Battlefront 2. For as much as Battlefront 2 championed IDEN VERSIO and the Inferno Squad as being an integral look into life within the Empire, within just a couple of missions she's had a change of heart, electing to join the rebellion instead. In joining up with the sort of heroes that we've been watching on screen for over 30 years though, she inevitably becomes part of the ongoing war machine, going through the exact same motions that, as far as The Last Jedi is concerned, will go on forever. There's no Rogue One-esque breakdown of how a smaller number of individuals turned the tide through one momentous chance action. Instead, Iden and her partner Del spend the game flitting from one battle to the next, ending the campaign as just another ship inside the Battle of Jakku. You can argue that Versio's presence aided the war effort, but the vast majority of the encounters she was present in saw everything play out as we'd already assumed it had done between episodes 6 and 7. Riddle me this, what did IDEN VERSIO really accomplish? Number 3, No Man's Sky. One of the most egregious of No Man's Sky's lies came from the idea that at the heart of the galaxy would be something truly special. After all, why were you, the player, journeying anywhere at all? No Man's Sky introduces two characters named Nada and Polo, who are essentially looking into the idea of the universe as we know it being a simulation. And yet, reaching the center of the galaxy confirms this in the worst possible way. Upon interacting with the center, you're treated to a slowly speeding up zoom out of every planet you landed on to get there. The camera continues to zoom out, and out, and out, with millions more planets whizzing past until you're back where you began literally hundreds of hours ago if you played it all through. From the plants you discovered to the structures you built, languages you learned, or anything in between, nothing mattered one bit. Okay, yes, it's one giant comment on the permanence of life and how we're all doomed to just repeat things in some cyclical nature for the rest of time. But man, if that doesn't feel incredibly deflating. Number 2, Nathan Drake, Uncharted, Drake's Fortune. Quip-happy, lovable rogue Nathan Drake is the nearest thing to a new age gaming icon. Yet his debut effort actually mimics Indiana Jones' Raiders of the Lost Ark in that the main character doesn't contribute to the plot whatsoever. Just think about it. Everything from the pirates arriving on the island to the Spanish descendants reanimating to even Navarro successfully excavating the treasure all happen without Nate successfully interfering. In essence, Drake spends the majority of the game chasing his antagonist's collective tail, only rejoining the overarching story when it's about to finish. Even then, the final showdown only happens because Elena boots one of Navarro's men out the side of a helicopter. This causes some wayward gunshots to bring it down, marooning the golden statue on a tanker with the helicopter itself teetering on the edge of a helipad. It's here where Nate finally does something, beating Navarro in a fight before shoulder barging the helicopter to send it and the statue down into the sea. Still, everything relating to the treasure itself, the Descendants' curses, major character exchanges and betrayals all happen with Drake on the back foot. And let's face it, Elena could have easily pushed an already over-the-edge helicopter into the brink herself. Number 1, again, Dark Souls. Dark Souls revolves around the idea of fire or light being life, and how sustaining it brings prosperity, yet the first game presents you with a key choice right at the very end. Ultimately though, both options result in the same outcome. Everything will happen over and over and over again. Option 1, walk into the fire, give yourself to the blaze and rekindle it, allowing light to flood the world and another age of fire to carry on. However, the light will always fade and another body will need to make its way across the lands to make the same decision. Option 2, walk away from the flame, letting it extinguish and ushering in the Age of Dark, a time without light or energy where demons and monsters rule. However, as Dark Souls 2 revealed, any wayward ember can reignite the flame again, ushering in another Age of Fire and another potential quest. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. It's like trying to make headlines as clickable as possible on YouTube without being labeled as clickbait. And that's been our list. Let me know down in the comments if there are any other heroic characters which didn't actually affect the plot all that much. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please click the bell below the video so you can keep up with all of our latest content. I've been Scott from uncultured.com, and I'll catch you soon.
Hey guys, thanks for making it to the end of the video. Aren't you a star? Don't forget to subscribe below, and also the people who made this video, they're right here, so go and follow them and give them some love. If you want to see more content, there's probably some stuff flowing up above my head. Why not check it out? It could be fun. I'm not your dad.